it's cool to hear that your ads have been doing so well. I think that's the highest that someone's come back to me with.
No way.
Truthfully,
No way.
I think, I'm most of the time, I think people just don't ever come back to me. Like, and that's how I am. When I jump on like any good information I pulled from a YouTube video, the person who posted that video has no idea. Like, I never said a word to them. I just take it and run. So I think a lot of people do that, but it's interesting when people do come back like, hey, I tried this and that and it went like this. And then you're like, I got a 7 ROAS. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty damn good. Not a lot of people hit that number.
You know what's crazy is I didn't know that was good until I randomly watched your videos kind of out of order. I didn't know that was good until like I saw a video where you were like talking maybe like how to get a 6.3 ROAS. And I was like, oh, okay, I did a 7. Maybe that's good. And then I started like looking. I was like, oh shit, because I actually did it, and I don't want to like talk too long, but I did it, and I started touching things, and the ROAS dropped because I didn't even like I should have just like just let it keep flowing, man. You know what I mean? And test little things here, but I changed a couple things.
The original ad that was getting the 7 ROAS, you went in and made an edit to that ad. Yeah. Dude, I swear, every time I jump on a call like this, and I did the same thing before I learned that if you just don't edit ads. If you want to make an edit or increase budget, you duplicate the ad. And then in that new duplicate is where you make all your changes. Just leave the original as it was. Never touch it.
Oh, totally,
now you know.
Now I know. I was so mad. Yeah. I think the targeting is kind of weird too. I have questions, but I'm gonna just like give you the floor because this was your idea.
No, bro, that was my idea. Ask all your questions. Go for it.
Oh, amazing! Thank you.
I guess the main thing I wanted to ask is just like, because you use my video so much, I'm curious I think it'll be helpful for other people. But what are the things that you took away, like kind of your main things you can remember that you applied and saw work?
For sure. Like first, I didn't even know how it worked till I watched your videos. So like there's that. But number two, I would say the most important things is like the mindset and then testing, right? Because like I went down with my ROAS, but then I went back up. And the first one that I got a ROAS on, I split tested. So I had the ad that had a 7 ROAS, and then I had another ad that got like a 3.4. So I think testing, and more importantly, like the mindset, like getting into the mind of like the consumer, getting into the mind of like how to target someone and like all the little things that you show. Yeah, I would say just maybe like obviously the tutorial, the mindset, and then obviously the testing, which I think is really big for like me experimenting.
For sure. It's big for everyone. I get a lot of questions and I kind of throw back. And I think people kind of maybe I come across a little bit rude sometimes, but because people ask me a question, I'm just like, test it. Like, test it. It's like, I could give you an answer that's kind of maybe right or wrong or kind of in the general vicinity. But the truth is, with almost everything when it comes to Facebook ads, because there's so many variables like your product, your messaging, your audience, and then just different features, it's like, just run the test. Put $10 into it, $20 into it, run the test, and then you have the answer based off of your own data. So that's super important. I'm glad you picked up on that in the vids. It sounds like did like my like targeting. Do you remember any of my specific targeting things that I said to do? Yeah. Okay.
And actually,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, man. No, you go.
No, man.
All right. Shit. No, man. The targeting, like the audience insights that you showed, like how to use audience insights, like that was like super pivotal to like even before I even went in there, like figuring out, okay, everyone over 45, I don't even need to touch them. And I think that's like really why my first campaign did so well. So there's that. I'm drawing a blank on what I'm even responding to right now. What did you ask me?
No, I just asked you if like what targeting things I said that you implemented, and you responded with one of them. That's great.
It's weird though, because like sometimes they don't give you the sometimes they don't. Yeah, when you're typing to target, like I have an add-on for an app called Procreate, and they don't have that, so I have to find ways around. But I think your videos kind of like help massage people's brains so that they can like problem solve that worst case scenario.
Yeah, that's I don't know. I mean, I think it's just a matter of, so when you pull it up in Audience Insights, it shows you the interest, but then when you go type it into the detailed targeting in your ad set, it doesn't show up. That's what you're saying, right?
Either of them.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is like a big Facebook. There's a Facebook page with like a bunch of likes, but it just doesn't pop
Doesn't
up.
show up as
So.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely reasons. One, like, doesn't have enough data. Anyway, there's maybe some other things, but some of it just doesn't show up, which is a bummer. Like, there's been so many times where especially in Audience Insights, where it's got like a really strong affinity, and I'm like, yes, this is gonna be a good one. Go throw it in, and it just doesn't show up. I'm like, man, that would have been a good one though.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Cool.
I think. Sorry, Champ. What's up?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think like right now, I'm just trying to get back to that 7. What would you say is like an average number for someone doing good?
I mean, so again, that's where it's like, you know, your ROAS is. I'll throw out a number, but let me give an explanation first. Just because your ROAS is your return on ad spend, so it's like you spent X amount of dollars, and that led to someone making purchases on your site, which total X amount of dollars in revenue. So it's like a calculation of how much you've made, how much more revenue you've made in comparison to your ad spend.
Yeah.
But what it's not taking into account is your profit margin. So that's where like I could say, you know, this ROAS is the best one, but or like an average or a good one, but depending on your numbers, it may or may not be. But I would say, you know, like anytime it's like over a 1, you're in the right direction. If you're below a 1, you're losing money. Like just on your ad spend. If you're over a 1, like you could be at a 1.25, a 1.5, a 2, and that means you're not losing. That means you're making more revenue-wise than you're making from your. That means you're making more revenue-wise than you're spending ad spend.
Mm-hmm.
But revenue is different than profit. So like you could have a 2 ROAS, but still you're, and which means that, you know, you're in the profitable direction, but when you actually go run your back end numbers with your profit margin, it still might not be totally profitable for you. So you do need to know what your profit margin is and run some numbers that way. But typically over 1, you're headed in the right direction. Up into the 2, 3s, 4s, and then up, you should be, if you've done your numbers even just okay, you should be profitable. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not as profitable as you want to be, but so yeah. So I would say like, I mean, like your other one you mentioned was like what 3.45, something like that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, again, I don't know your numbers, but that's also, you know, that means you more than tripled the amount of money you put into it.
It's like ROI, basically, kind of.
Yes, almost. Just again, not to be repetitive, just the profit margin isn't calculated in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is your ROI. Revenue wise though, not profit.
Profit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, my product's digital, so like I'm good. Any profit, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. So on like that, anything over 1 for you is profitable. So when you hit 7, man, you just 7x. That's great. Like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
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 3.45 on a digital good that you have no cost for, also extremely good. That's triple your money.
Definitely.
Yeah.
If I put more money into something, will the ROAS stay the same? Do you know, or will it?
It just always depends. So if you just have an ad there, it's getting a 5 right now ROAS. You just don't touch it and it just runs for 2 more weeks. It's going to fluctuate. That's just how things go. If you go in and give it more, if you duplicate it, and so say you're running it, giving it like $20 a day, it's getting a 5 ROAS. You duplicate it and up the budget to $100 a day. You're asking, is that going to leave it at a 5 ROAS or is it going to go up or down? Test it. Because you don't know until you run that. But the idea is that it will stay about there, maybe a little down, maybe a little up. If your pixel's getting stronger, could be going up. But maybe there's just a lot of factors. But that's kind of like the general answer. Because another thing is like if you're increasing your ad budget, but it's a really tiny audience, then maybe the audience has already seen your ad 1 or 2 or 3, 4 or 5 times, whatever, and they just don't care. And so you increase the budget and you're just showing them now the same thing 8, 9, 10, 11 times, and they're still like, I don't want this, and you're just annoying them. But if you're, so that's just like if your audience is super small. If it's a big audience, I mean, you could, like, if your audience is millions and millions of people, you could up your daily budget to hundreds or thousands of dollars and still not be reaching everybody.
Yeah, because I almost wonder, I'm seeing my link click-through percentage is like dropping. And I almost wonder if like people are getting ad fatigue, but.
It could be. Do you know how to check that?
My link click-through?
There's the ad fatigue. So there's a data point to pay attention to that will kind of let you know what's going on ad fatigue wise, which is just your frequency. So the frequency data point is what tells you how often it tells you how many times someone has seen your ad. So if people have only seen your ad once, your frequency score will be 1. If it starts creeping above 1, that means some people have seen your ad more than 1 times. If you see that get to a 2 or 3, that means people have seen it 2 times, 3 times.
Dude, first off, thank you. Second, where do I find that? Where do I see the frequency?
Okay, so
that's crazy.
Are you selling a course? Is that what you're doing?
No, it's kind of a course. It's there's a program on the iPad that like lets you draw, and basically you have digital brushes and they do different things. I created like some unique brushes and I have good art to kind of make you think they're really good. I mean, they are. And then people buy my brushes and they also get tutorials, filters that change the colors of their work. So it's cool. So thanks, man.
It's just an app on your iPad, but then inside of the app you create brushes. Is that right? Or no?
Basically, like I create brushes inside the app, and then I can export them and then put them on Gumroad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. This is like, it's so crazy what people can make money with online. How'd you figure that out? Like, did you see someone else doing that, or did you just start? Yeah, you saw someone do it. Okay.
I saw someone else do it. Yeah, I see a couple people were doing it, and I had this consultation with this dude named, and he was like, "Yeah, he's a big YouTuber." He's like, "Yeah, I put my YouTube videos up, and then, damn, I probably shouldn't have said his name, but basically, like his videos are like low key an ad for his brush pack, and then people go to Gumroad and buy it." So then I just started like doing a little market research. I don't have a big YouTube following, so I just want the Facebook ad route. Found your channel. Went nuts.
That's so cool, man. Honestly, like, what do you sell the brushes for?
This pack is a pack of 6. So usually you'll get one pack for like $12 to $17. So you're getting 6 for $25. But to get some scarcity in there, and obviously because some people aren't fond of the price, I do like I'm testing 10, 15, and 20% discounts right now. But I know the discounts really make people make moves. I've just selected 4 of my campaigns. I didn't want to put all my campaigns because
that's
some of them are just crazy tests that aren't a great reflection of like what is possible. So,
well, no, that's great. But I think it's also not that we need to go show people, but that's like if I pulled up. So I just started a lead gen campaign. I guess kind of like 2 days ago or so. But anyways, if I went in there and showed it to you, you'd see like some of them are doing really well, and then I've got like a bunch that are turned off that didn't do well. That's just that's the whole idea of testing, is you test, figure out which ones work, which ones don't, shut off the ones that don't, optimize the ones that do. So that's great. Are you using Shopify, ClickFunnels, something else?
Gumroad.
I see. I don't know what that is.
It's basically Shopify, but I think it's a little better for digital products, and especially for my niche, the art niche is more familiar with Gumroad.
Okay, cool. Is your niche pretty big? I mean, it seems like it, yeah.
It's gonna get bigger when I add Photoshop brushes, because Photoshop brushes will let me market to people who are using 3 different programs, Photoshop, Affinity, and Fresco, whereas I'm only marketing to like Procreate right now. So I'll get 4. So that'll blow it up to like millions. I think right now it's probably maybe like 500,000 people are really like in this. Maybe. I don't know. I'm throwing numbers at you, but I haven't done the hard work. Yeah.
So I'm looking here on your screen, website convert. We'll get to let me ask this question, then we'll do frequency. Where it says website conversions, 1,100 total. That you just profited that, right? I mean, minus whatever you spent on your other ads, but
yeah, basically minus whatever I spent on the ads, it's all profit.
Cool. That's awesome. Then yeah, everything on here except for the 0.59 ROAS is profitable. The 0.59 ROAS one lost you some money.
Yeah.
Not much. You only, I guess. Yeah, let's see. Spent $38 there. So you maybe lost like, essentially what that's saying is you lost 60%, or is it saying 40%? You lost a little bit of what you spent. Maybe yeah. But other than that, the other ones are all profitable. So that's super cool. All right, frequency wise. So click to your ad sets. And then I guess you could also do this in ads. I like to look at the ad set level. And then if you click on columns, so like right above schedule right now, yeah. And then go to customize. Well, here, actually click out of this for a second. Sorry. And then just scroll to the right. See if it's already got it in here. No, it doesn't. So yeah, go into columns. And then go customize columns. And I personally like to set, and if you click at the bottom left, you can click save as preset. You don't need to do that right now. I'm just showing you, if you want to come in here and set stuff up how you want, you can click save preset, and then that's how it will display on your dashboard. So like, yeah, click frequency. And then, but if you look into the right where it shows you all the, and then scroll down, it'll show it at the very bottom. So it'll be the very last thing you see on the far right. Yeah, if you want to put it somewhere else, just drag it.
Probably. Is a 3-second video plays important?
I mean, every data point has its time and place. But honestly, for you, I would just focus on conversions. Like, just pay attention to conversions and how much you spent to get your conversion. Just pay attention to your ROAS basically, because it's especially since it's a digital product, that makes things quite a bit easier. But like what I would do first is really just focus on ROAS and number of conversions, and just keep optimizing until you really think you've maxed that out. And then at that point, you can, I think, maybe try and, if you went back to look at, or maybe the way I think video views works well is for retargeting. So like if you were to go set up a custom audience, I don't know if you know what that is, a lookalike audience. Yeah. You can retarget people based on how long they viewed a video. But like a 3-second video play, me personally, I don't honestly never really look at that as a data point. But that doesn't mean you don't have to, or you don't have some reason for it. Just me personally. And one thing that you've probably heard me say this in some of my videos, but since there are so many data points, it's easy to get distracted with some or all that just don't actually matter when what you're trying to do is make sales and money. And so if you just pay attention to the sales and the money, you can't really go wrong there. But you can go wrong by paying attention to stuff that you just don't need to be paying attention to.
I feel you, man. Is this anything else you want me to click in regard to this, like custom columns?
No, because you got the main stuff in there.
How do I apply it? Because it's not.
Oh, you got to give the preset a name.
Let's go show. There we go. Because I'm talking to you right now, so I'll remember.
Yeah.
Context. Apply. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. I can see this now. I can see exactly what you're talking about.
Yep. So now those numbers right there mean some people have seen your ad more than once. If you hover over frequency at the top where it says the word, average number of times each person saw your ad. So yeah, Once it hits 2, that means everybody's seen your ad twice. Until then, some people have seen your ad more than once.
What's a good range? Like, should I stop it at like 5 to 8 or something like that?
Test. Here's the thing. I know it's easy to I told you, man, that's the answer. We're talking Facebook ads. Yeah, so test it, but then also one thing to think about frequency. So a lot of times people get scared of someone seeing their ad twice. All right. If you look at the best advertisers, how many times do you see their ads? You get annoyed by them. Ty Lopez ads, Alex Becker ads, McDonald's ads. They just, when they're running those ads, you get them constantly. It's like, well, I don't want to see this guy again. I don't want to see this again. So that's frequency. That's their frequency going to 2, 3, 4. And the reason that, one of the reasons, kind of the main reason that a good advertiser would allow that to happen is because they know that, well, 2 things. One, it oftentimes takes several points of contact until you actually commit to even looking into it. And then sometimes it's multiple points of contact until you actually purchase whatever it is they're selling. I know for me, for example, I do this with YouTubers. As far as like buying from ads, I don't really do that a whole lot. But like for a YouTuber, I could mention some specific names here. Who's the value? Have you watched Valuetainment at all on YouTube?
Oh, is he like Middle Eastern and
yeah,
like dressed well, like dresses well, kind of?
Is that London Real? Maybe
I know. I think I know Valuetainment. He's got a funny.
He's like Iranian or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah. But anyways, I saw him a couple times and like I liked it. Like I was interested in a couple of his clips, but like I was like, move on. But then after I ran into him, it was like 6 or 7 times. Then I went to his channel and went and sorted by most popular and watched a couple of his videos. And like, it's the same thing with selling, not always, but oftentimes the same thing with selling a digital course, a digital brush, McDonald's, Travis Scott meal or what not. Is it the Travis Scott meal they just did? No, it's not Travis
I think
Scott.
so. I think so.
But yeah. Anyways, they do that, they run those ads to you, make you see those several times so that you've seen it several times so that you get to the point of, all right, I'm going to go check this out. All right, I'm actually go buy this. And it's that especially can work well if you're targeting the right people. If you're targeting an audience that's not interested at all, you're just straight up annoying them. But if it's an audience that has some interest, then frequency can actually, like higher frequencies can actually be to your benefit. With that said, since it's Facebook ads, you got to test and pay attention to the data. And so if you see, this is how I would do it for you on these ads, let's say. So you've got, more or less what your ROAS is on these. So I would just watch your ROAS and watch your frequency. And as your frequency goes up, keep watching your ROAS. Does it go up? Does it go down? And then maybe there's a point you see your frequencies at like 3 and your ROAS starts to drop. And then you can kind of go, all right, that's probably ad fatigue. That doesn't necessarily mean don't run ads to those people anymore. That might just mean run a different ad creative to those people.
Yeah, because I'm grateful you're saying this because I literally have like 2 new ads that I want to run that like in the creative, like just the carousel, completely different, more engaging. Yeah. Because I was like, man, like maybe I was paying too much attention to this. So I'm glad you pointed this out, but I was paying attention to like, where is it? Sorry, I'm just trying to find it. Yeah, okay, cool. So I was paying attention to reach and then my link clicks. And I was usually hovering from like 3 to 5%, but now I'm like 1-2%. So I'm like, what's that about? I mean, granted, like what you're saying with frequency is gonna like illuminate more, but I'm wondering, so is there any,
I mean, I can give you some thoughts there, but I would first say probably just don't worry about it. Like, as long as your ROAS is good in a good spot and you're getting conversions, I just focus on those numbers. Now, that's my first thought there is like, to me, I would, if I could just give you my most blunt advice, I would say it seems to me like you were focusing on data points that you just really didn't need to focus on. And now that you have a better idea of what ROAS is, and like just that's your indicator of how much money you're making, how effective your ads are. So I just focus on that. And then, yeah, but if you did want to worry about clicks, so what that could kind of be saying is, yeah, I mean, ad fatigue could be playing into that. If someone's seen your ad multiple times, if your ad's getting shown to people over and over again, and they're just going to continue not clicking into it, then that's going to decrease your click-through rate overall. And another reason why your cost per click could decrease, other people, or cost per your click-through rate, I should say, would decrease. It could have to do with, someone else jumped in and wanted to target the same audience, and maybe they've got a better ad or they're spending more or something like that. So that's another part, is like, you're always bidding against other people to show up in a feed. And so people might be outbidding you. And so you're not getting as many click-throughs for that reason. There's a lot of things that should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that I just go in here and say, okay, cool, like I got a 7.08 ROAS here. Maybe I throw more money into that. Because like my goal, my dream would be if I could make 100,000 just off of this alone.
I don't see why not, looking at these numbers, unless, I don't know, the ads that you turned off, what'd you spend on those? Have you lost money? Did you spend more than 1,100 on those ones?
No, I've never spent more. It's probably a ROAS of like 1.7 to 2. Okay. If I like put them all together.
That's great. So, and I don't know if you're cool with clicking into these and showing me your targeting, that would be awesome. Yeah. And video purposes.
100%.
Okay, I can blur that if you want me to.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
If you want to make suggestions like that, feel free, man, because this is your data. So you let me know if you want me to blur something.
Thank you, man. No, I appreciate it.
Because I'm interested on the size of your audience. Because what I'm seeing here, if you've got these numbers and you've got a big audience you can continue to advertise to, I think 100K is totally in the picture for you.
Awesome.
Let
me know.
Even somewhat quickly.
That'd be crazy. I think, I think when I expand, and I'm even thinking about like hiring someone for this, but when I know whatever I'm doing here, I can do 4 times when I create the Photoshop brush file version of whatever I'm selling here. So like, but yeah, you were going to say before.
Bro, and you can do it better on those ones because you'll have, how many do you have? So you have 70.
And I can target Photoshop too. I can literally target Photoshop users. I can't target Procreate.
Yeah, that's legit. That will be extremely helpful. So what I would do is keep running these, get hundreds of conversions. So you have hundreds of people's emails that have bought from you. Upload those emails, create a lookalike off of it. If you don't know how to do that or what that is, I can break all that down.
You already showed me. So yeah.
But yeah, I'd create a lookalike and just start running it, because that'll be, as soon as you can take emails you got straight from your conversions and create a lookalike, that's the audience you want to advertise to. And then you almost, in some cases, you don't even have to worry about interest targeting. But I would still, because those will be like millions of people in those audience. And so if you take those millions of lookalikes and then narrow your targeting through an interest Photoshop, bro, that's going to kill.
Yeah, no, I can see that. So one, let me know where we need to navigate so that I can show you all that information. And then number 2, I do have a lookalike running, and you can see its ROAS is actually pretty poor. It was only 100, maybe 80 to 100. Now I have, I think, over 100. I know I have like at least 130 customers that have bought this specific product from me.
And are you targeting in the United States, or are you targeting
only US?
Okay, cool.
Only US.
Yeah, so you might have enough now. I would, if you can get that up to like, and dude, this is all profit. Like sometimes my advice for people is like, get to that point, even if you're losing a little bit of money, you're making plenty of profit. So just like run some ads, get 500 conversions, and then upload that email as a lookalike, that list as a lookalike audience, and that should do some damage.
Perfect. I guess two more notes before the first thing, but when I added to your point, it jumped that ROAS up like significantly. So it's like 4.06 instead of because this is a split test, these two. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing I was going to say.
Oh, so you narrowed through you targeted.
Yeah.
As the interest. Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. That worked
on
way
top
better.
of lookalike. That's what the LA is.
Yep. Cool.
And so that's one thing that maybe will be helpful. The second thing though is how much you think that I should throw in weekly, and should I even just let it run consistently? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, because I guess we'll know when I start to dive deeper. But if I had like a general sense of like how much money I can just throw in, like maybe if my ROAS was a 3, I'd probably throw like $100 in a week and make around 300, which if things go smoothly, I could probably get close to $100,000 in a year's time. If that makes sense.
Yeah. If I'm gonna go a little nuts on you right here, but I think you should go nuts, man. With these numbers, and it's a digital product, you should go nuts. You should, because every dollar you spend right here is making you 2 or 3 or 4 or 7 more. So every one you put in, you're making multiples back. So just put as many in as you absolutely can.
So would that look like maybe 7 days, put as much money as I can into the best ad, or 7 days, put as much money as I can until all of the ads? Like, what would be your approach there?
Yep, I got you. So, okay, so I'll slightly contradict myself here, because I think that is the right, because you're profitable and it's a digital product, man, literally everything you spend is just going to make you more. But also you're in a learning phase, and so you don't like want to, like if you want to take a little bit of time and to learn and ramp up, great, like totally fine. Now I just forgot what your question was. Sorry.
Oh no, it was basically like, what would you do? Would you do, okay, I'm gonna just do the 4 and the 7, or would I do 4, 1, 2, 7, 3?
So I think first of all, you just keep doing what you've been doing, because you're being really smart about things and you're getting really good results. And look, frankly, a lot of times I jump in here with people and just try and like get them to rethink how they're doing the whole thing. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm saying keep doing what you're doing. Keep testing as you're testing. Like this one where you got a 0.59, and then you, I don't know if you maybe you did it right at the exact same time. I mean, it's a split test, so you ran those at the exact same time. But I think that's really smart to go, okay, here's my lookalike, but let's narrow it and see which one performs better. And you just want to keep doing those split tests over, and it doesn't even have to be the actual experiments. You can just run whatever, look at the data yourself and figure it out. But I would just keep running split tests. And the way I would do that, I would go 2 places right now. I'd keep working with your lookalike ad set, and I'd work with your ad set A US 18 to 45, which is the 7 ROAS ones. So I would take your best performing ones, so your ads with the highest ROAS, and optimize those ones.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and are you familiar with the word optimize? I know I wasn't when I first ran into ads. So is that a word that has any meaning to you or not really?
I know what the word means, like in life, not in this context.
When I say optimize, it just means do things to try and improve the ad to get it to perform better for you. So like this LA digital, or let's take the ad set A, for example. I don't know. So here, click on view charts. I'll show you an example of how I would optimize this one.
By the way, would you mind sending me this recording? Because this is so valuable. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. Click on demographics. Okay, so you've got, so your purchases have come from 18 to 20-year-old females, 25 to 34-year-old males and 35 to 44-year-old males. Okay, if you go hover over one of the dark purple lines. All right, so if you look at the left, since this is women, so the purple lines indicate purchases. If you look at the bottom left of the box, it says cost per result 231. Hover over the 25 to 34-year-old male. Yeah. Okay, right side, bottom right, cost per result 219. And then 35 to 44, hover over that one, 104. So that's your cheapest cost per result right there. So what I would do as a test to hopefully optimize, I would duplicate this ad set, but just run the ad to 35 to 44-year-old men. Because they've gotten you the most results for the cheapest. And so if you target just them, that should, in theory here, I mean, you've always got to run the test and see the data, but that should increase your ROAS, meaning you're spending less, making more.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's just one example of optimizing, where you just kind of look at how you have it set up. If there's data there that is clearly showing you, like, this is where things are performing better, then just separate those out into their own ad sets. If you click on placement, so you're just running just IG. Have you ran on in any other placements?
I did do Facebook.
Didn't go so well?
I could pull it up. I think also, like, I was really naive when I went into this. I'm just going to pull up. If we could just keep all my campaigns private, though, that'd be great.
On the IG ones, are you running? Oh, there we go. Put on our custom column.
Custom frequent.
Oh,
put on.
Oh, it's yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I got what I need. Or is it going to show us the? Oh yeah, there's the ROAS 0.97. So that's almost profitable. We lost a little bit. Yeah, but I would. So like are you running IG Story, IG Explore, IG Feed?
So far, I've just copied what I've seen in my market research, which has been IG Feed and IG Explore. I haven't done IG Story because my thought process is like, there's so much in this pack. I feel like Story might kind of take away from the explaining, like the value. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I haven't seen your ads or your products at all, so I don't have that to gauge it, but yeah, I trust you on that. You know that better than I do. But anyways, the reason I'm asking about placements is just like that one that has a ROAS of 7. Maybe you just want to see how, just duplicate it, change the placement to Facebook feed, and just see how it goes Facebook versus Instagram. And then and then at least you clearly know, like, all right, it's just Instagram I need to worry about. But maybe Facebook gives you a high return, and now you go worry about Facebook. But what I would say is, to make each dollar the most effective it can be for you, is optimize your ad sets with the highest ROAS, because that's just showing you that this is the best audience. So keep working with that audience. And you can test some different ad creative too, because that can be a big deal. And I always recommend that people find audience first and then start to test creative, because if you're testing creative against audiences that you don't know work or not, that can be really problematic. Like you could be running the best creative in the world and getting the worst results because you targeted the wrong people. So, but if you're targeting the right people and you've already proven that, like you have, then now's a really good time to throw. So I would also duplicate off of that 7 ROAS, create some duplicates, and in those duplicates have different ad creative. Because ad creative, I mean, you'll probably notice, like, one ad creative gets you a 7 ROAS, send a different ad creative to the same exact audience, and you've got a 4 ROAS. Send another one, another test to them, you got 12 ROAS. And that can really be, once you've found the audience already, that, and especially at a really good ROAS, you start throwing different ads at them, and you really try and like work on the psychology of the ads, then you can really see, like, wow, this ad performed 1 trillion times better than any of my other ones. But you got to go through the testing and the iteration to figure that out. But I would do all of that off of the ones you've proven to already have the highest ROAS.
Makes sense. No, that makes sense. I've so far I've tested just the like discount code because I think that was a big part of getting people to buy up front. But I'm working on a new creative, and I'm trying to do something more engaging. I could probably talk about that later. It's because it might be going too far into like the micro of what we're trying to deal with right now.
Sure. That's,
yeah,
that's fine. Is
these are
the ad sets that you've ran already, they all have the same creative, right? Pretty much?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, with the exception of just like some have a discount and some don't.
Okay. Does the one with the 7 ROAS have a discount?
10% off, yeah.
Does the one with the 4 ROAS have a discount? Basically, I'm trying to ask, like, are your highest ROAS the ones with the discounts? Because then that would say you should always run the discount.
Okay. I changed the one that has a 4 to a discount like midway. So it's
Gotcha.
I muddied it.
Okay. So the lookalike that you narrowed through digital, that ad set, does that one have a discount in it?
All of them now have discounts.
Okay. Well, that's good. I think that's good.
Yeah.
So no, because I was gonna say if they didn't, I would just create a duplicate, throw the discount in there, and yeah, my advice is what you already did, which is switch them all to a discount.
I did split test discounts, and I could pull that up for you. The 20% one got me a sale, nothing else did. It's pretty sad actually. Yeah. So my average ROAS was pitiful. Yikes. So the 20% one got me a sale. I think it's still run. No, I turned it off. Yeah, so it had like a terrible ROAS. I don't know if it was the budget. I don't know what it was, but I did run. And I don't know if this means anything to you, so.
So which ads did get high ROAS then?
Okay, so I'm gonna go back into my campaign. I could probably just select all, and then so far the best that we have here is the first ad I read. It was like the A in the split test. It was the first ever ad I did, and then this is the lookalike, only 1% plus digital art, because I did lookalike 1% and 1 to 3, 1 to 2, and then 1 to 3, and then 1% did well. So this is lookalike 1% plus digital.
What's the creative on? Or is the creative the same on all of these?
Give or take, yeah. I mean, it's very minimal difference. Like I might have a different slide, but they're all kind of doing the same thing.
Okay.
I could pull up.
Yeah, show me the top 2 there, because little differences can make huge differences. Like literally, this is one of the craziest things I've like the only book actually I read on Facebook ads, but years ago, the guy was saying like, and he was breaking down all that, like they'd run real tests and had real data on it, and it was like we were running this ad, getting this, doing pretty well, and then we changed one word, and the thing just took off. It's like because one word can mess with people's psychology, so it's like one word can make a big difference. So you might be right, and maybe it had nothing to do with whatever changes you made, but also like I wouldn't just instantly rule that out because it seems minor, because it might not have actually been as minor as you think. You want me to blur all this stuff, like your ads, people seeing your stuff?
The ad, I don't really care. Maybe the targeting, and the like.
I gotcha.
Specific information. I would like that to be blurred, but
okay, I got you.
The ad, I don't really care. So this is I'm gonna just scroll through them real quick, and I'm gonna see if I can find the differences. So it starts off with a video, and then so I think this is the first difference. Is this image? I don't have that image here. So you'll scroll and you're not gonna see that.
So that's a huge difference. So what are we looking at here? Are we looking at the 7 ROAS one?
Mm-hmm. This is the 7 ROAS one.
Yeah. So what I would do, the 7 ROAS has proven that your targeting works really well, and that your ad creative works really well. So what I would, I guess, let me just talk ad creative. So I would say this ad creative is what's working best for you. So I would now make this your new ad creative that you use. Exactly. Word for word, period for period, picture for picture, exactly the same.
Okay.
And so like what I would do, maybe, yeah, it would be interesting maybe to, so like the LA digital art one, since that ad creative is a little bit different than this one, which is the top performer so far, I would, so the way you would want to do it is duplicate the ad set, basically just run this exact same ad, the 7 ROAS ad, to your LA audience. And likely that'll increase your ROAS on that LA digital art audience.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because you just yeah.
That makes all of the sense. Yeah.
The only way that wouldn't really work is if the audiences are just so different. Like maybe this everyone versus women audience is, maybe you just did 20 to 30-year-olds, and then your LA digital is 65 to 70-year-olds. Well, if you take the ad that worked for a 20-year-old and run it to a 70-year-old, you might have an issue there. It might not click the same way because those are very different people and different mindsets and all that. But it's just like, but if it's very similar audiences and you have proven that the data has proven that this is your better ad creative, start running that ad creative and use that as just your ad creative that you run with. And then what I would do is create split tests off of that ad creative and see if you can make changes to it that just continue to keep increasing your ROAS.
Quick question. Yeah, no, that makes total sense. Quick question. In regard to this 7 ROAS ad, does it matter that it was like, I only spent like $35 on it? Because it's basically like, it was a split test for 3 days of $75. So it's basically for 3 days, it only got half of $75.
Yeah, so the amount of budget you can give it can definitely make a difference. So it's not running right now, it's turned off. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna run it as soon as we go.
So you might see that, when you just might see that as you increase your ad spend, which means you're spending more per day, you might see your ROAS come down. But if you're improving your ad creative, you're targeting, you're using lookalikes, you're retargeting, that it could also just keep continuing to climb. And then also, man, I know this might be, and maybe you don't want to mess with this right now and just keep focusing Facebook, which I think would be smart because you're collecting emails and you could still do this down the road. But if you had a little automated email series that went out, so like once they've made a purchase, once they've bought your product, you've got their email. Now you can send them out emails once a week or once a month or 3 times a week, whatever, and sell them something else. Like, I guess you only have one offer right now, so maybe it's whenever your next offer is, but don't overlook emailing people because you have their emails and you can email them for free without having to pay for advertising. And it goes right into their inbox, not into a feed when they're trying to watch other stuff. So it's like, that's a thing people overlook, and it can be a really easy way to really increase the amount of money you're making. And not only will that increase just the amount of money you're making, what that does is it actually makes it actually increases your ROAS. Like it makes your advertising worth a lot more. So if you look at it just from I spent this on the ad and got the conversion, that made me $40. But then if you can email that person, make another sale that they spend another 40, well, this initial ad, instead of making you the 40, just now made you 80. That makes sense?
Oh, that makes total sense. And I have other products that I could, the trick is though, is like right now, the product that I'm selling is like everything I've ever made. in regard to like this niche. So I think it would make sense to maybe take the emails from people that have bought other digital products that are inside of this, but they didn't buy the full thing, and maybe offer them like a discount so that there's,
Yeah.
so maybe that would work better.
Yeah, that cool.
And
again, I'm not saying necessarily do that right now, but I just wanted to put like email into your head. Yeah.
Totally. I would love to do it right now. I just would have to figure out like, how do I create another product that's not going to be inside of my everything product. Right. But I mean, like, I'll figure that out. Obviously I'll have other products inevitably, but sure. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes total sense. I have a question about like retargeting.
Yep.
And you tell me, it's more of like, I'm going to tell you my assumption and then you'll just correct it. Okay. But I was thinking like retarget the like lookalike people, or actually retarget people who've put it in the cart but didn't buy it. And I wanted to run an ad basically like you've seen this ad before, so since we're familiar with each other, here's 30% off. The thing is, I was going to run that ad only Friday and Saturday because those are big days for me, and I'm assuming it's because it's such a cheap product. They're like, oh, I have money now, and they just throw it at it. Thoughts, comments, questions on that? Anything really would be helpful.
For just like my general opinion on it, I think that's smart. I think you should, absolutely retarget people that added to cart and didn't finish purchase, for sure. That's because, it could be they're very interested if they made it to that point. Either they're very interested or they were doing research on you, which they were likely just interested. So retarget them, and maybe they got distracted. Your price point's so low, it's probably not the price point that turned them away. Shipping times not turning them away. So I would just retarget, and especially if you hit them with a discount, I don't see why that wouldn't work.
Cool.
But again, test and just see. But I would, even right now, I'd start that retargeting campaign for add to carts and just see what it gets you.
Yeah, and in regard to that, like, what days should I hit the retargeting? Should I skip certain days? Should I start a new retargeting ad? Like, should I only do 2 days? Like, how would that like?
I don't think so, unless you've clearly picked it up in the data that this day or this time of day or these hours and these days. Unless you've clearly seen that in your own data, I wouldn't worry about that a whole lot. And then especially because that's part of what the Facebook algorithm tries to do. It's not trying to serve people ads that are asleep at 4 a.m. Like.
No, that makes sense. I have like my analytics here. You're probably gonna have to cut out everything I'm showing you here.
I'll just have like us zoomed in on us and won't show any of your screen for these parts.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I could see what my big days were. And typically I think they're like weekends, Friday, Saturday. This is Thursday. I mean, this isn't Facebook though, so I guess this is of no importance. This is.
And has this been? I mean, did you keep your ads consistent over this amount of time, or did you have some turning off, turning on new ones, tweaking stuff?
Yeah, it sounds probably no good. No, I didn't keep it consistent. I turn off new ones.
So you might be right, but I'm just looking at that as you might be right, but also maybe your tweaks and changes and all that were spiking things up and down. Also, that could very well be it. But if you ran stuff consistently for a couple of weeks and then went back in and saw like it, clearly there's ups and downs at this day and this day or whatever, like then at that point I'd say absolutely that
makes sense.
Looks like you gathered that. Like it looks like the data is telling you these are the better times. So that would make sense.
Absolutely. Do you okay, so I'm probably gonna be running a shit ton of ads. What's a good budget price, one? And then I guess my second question would be, is there a way for me to go into this information and figure out how big this audience is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually meant to do that. Sorry. So let's go back to your ad sets. Take me into the ad set of your 7 ROAS one.
So this is the 7 ROAS one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, so click edit. We're not going to actually make any changes. I just want to see what's going on. Okay, so the audience size, 200,000 people. See the potential reach on on the right column. Potential reach 200,000 people. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how many impressions did the ad get already? So you might have to jump back over. Yeah.
Sure.
Impressions or reach, either one. A couple thousand. Yeah, I mean, you've got so much audience there still. Like you've reached a couple thousand people. And there's
Yeah, I'm like, oh, there we go.
200,000.
Yeah.
What is that, 1%? Is that, or
Yeah.
is that the math? I don't know. I'm terrible. I got to use calculators.
That's about 1%, a little over. Yeah.
Yeah, over 1% of the audience. So you've got a lot there. But yeah, again, I would say, ad budget wise, test. What I like to do, and I did this with lead gen. So this may or may, I did test it with some conversions, and it actually didn't really work out that well. But I just kind of follow my process here. I was running some lead gen. I was spending like $10 a day on the ad set, going well. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try 2 different strategies here. Let's say I was getting the lead for like, I don't know, $2.10. So I had 2 strategies. One was to duplicate and decrease the daily budget to $2. So to then try and force Facebook into getting me a lead for even less than the cost per lead that I was getting. I was like, and it's got some data. It already figured out like, these are the people, these are the leads, these are how much it costs. So basically I was like, I'm just going to try and make the algorithm work harder to deliver a result for less. And so instead of increasing my budget, yeah, it was a weird thing. I don't know why I even thought of it, but I was like, instead of increasing, I'm going to decrease. So instead of going from $10 to $50, I went from $10 to $2, and then that brought down my cost per lead. So then what I did is from the original that was working, is I created like 20 duplicates or 50 duplicates, but each one had like a $2 or a $1.50 spend per day. And then a lot of those, not all of them, but a lot of those got leads that came down, or cost per lead that came down even more. So that, and again, I did then go test that, not very thoroughly, but a little bit on a conversion side. I didn't see it work, but it might be an interesting test for you to run to see if that does work. The other thing I would do is, just create a duplicate. And this is what I did with those lead gens also. Like I just went 2 opposite directions. I went low and I went way high. So instead of $10 a day, I went straight up to $100 a day to see how that would do for me. The $100 a day, it didn't really do better or worse. It just kind of kept doing the same. And then another thing you could do is and if I forget, try and remind me if you can remember. But I've been watching this guy on YouTube. I've seen a few of his videos now. And like he's legit. Like the dude's spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. And which is, if you're spending a little bit a day, a couple hundred a day, versus spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, you're going to have some different strategies you've got to put in place there. But it's been interesting to see, because like his strategy is quite different than what I teach for the beginners on that come across my YouTube stuff. Because I've got to teach them like what you had to learn from me at the beginning, like, okay, what's this, how to kind of structure stuff, how to separate stuff, and like find your targeting and see if it works. But he's like, once you've kind of figured that stuff out, he's like, and you've got your pixel built up, which is the main piece of it, which is just, again, I'd say here, you've got 93 purchases, turn that into like 500, and then you've got a lot of pixel data. But he's like, basically build up your pixel well, and once it's got a lot of data and it's built up, he's like, 1 campaign, like 1 or 2 to maybe 5 max different ad sets, and then in those ad sets have all of the targeting that you found out that is your successful targeting / your good lookalike audiences. And basically what he's saying at that point is, once you've built up enough data in your pixel, just big campaign, few ad sets, big budget, and just let Facebook do its work with the pixel. Because at that point, you've got pixel data, you've got really strong lookalikes built up, Facebook can look at all of those. And so at that point, instead of trying to like separate stuff out, do it small, create a bunch of different blah, 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 like just rely on the algorithms and the data that you put in the hard work at first of building all that up. Once that's there, just hand it over to Facebook basically with a big budget and let it run. And that's what this guy's been doing. And I've heard several people come in talking about that strategy, but it seems to only work and make sense once you've really built up to that point. You can't, have 10 conversions and be like, all right, I can just hand this over to Facebook with big budget and it's going to kill it for me.
Yeah. That makes sense. I think I have, definitely let me know. I can go here into that product and tell you I've got so far 137 sales. So I know I did the lookalike currently when I was at 80. So I should probably, do you think I wait till 150 to rejuvenate it, or is it always rejuvenated? Because I know I had to create the custom. No, actually I had to create it based off of, I don't even know how I created it. Do you know what I'm asking you? Am I confusing you?
You're asking like, you built your lookalike that you have right now off of like 100 sales. You're saying,
yeah,
I build another one once I hit 150 sales. Should I build another one when I hit 200? Yeah. Why not?
Exactly.
It's not that much work, right? Like it's upload a list, click a couple buttons, wait a second, and you got the audience there, target it, run the test, see how it goes. I think yeah. Could you also wait until you hit 500 and then sure. What's so great about your situation is like you found very profitable interest and you have no costs other than just the ad money. So like if it were me, I'd be kind of I'd be testing stuff that maybe even doesn't make a lot of sense to test just to get more information and data and experience. And personally, I do this with my own stuff. When I've got something that's working well, like there's like comfortable money there, I take a whatever percentage of that and I just play just for the heck of it. If I'm in a spot where it's like I don't have the money to mess with in that way, then I don't do stuff like that. But you, in this case, I mean, with the ROAS you have, I'd have some fun. And really and because you're so on track and you've got a good brain about it, like you'll learn more through that probably honestly than this conversation with me. Like just because I can tell you know what you're doing, man. So the more you just, and it's money, so we don't want to like go crazy. We want to protect it or whatever. But I'm just not like, if there's a chance for me to play, I know that I can learn a lot from that. And like legit, that's how I'm able to be here telling you things, is because my very first take when I didn't have much money and I was in school and everything, I just threw $1,000 to ads. Didn't care if I completely lost it all, whatever. And I still do that. But, and I see so many people that don't even get close to blowing $100. And it's like, you want to learn this whole advertising thing for 100 bones? That's not going to happen. Like, so anyways, just kind of long-winded to say,
no.
Just, you're some people I might not say like, yeah, run wild, go run tests. They have no idea how to analyze stuff and know if it's working or not. But I mean, you're on track. So I'd say, yeah, have some fun with it.
Definitely.
And then this one just clicked for me. The 7 ROAS one. Have you I guess ran that same ad set but with a lookalike audience?
How do I do that?
Yeah. So go to. I'll show you right now. Go to the ad set.
The ad set of the 7 ROAS one.
Yep. So basically, so if you just went in and created it, everything exactly the same, I would just, in the custom audience section, select your lookalike and then run the ad.
So select the lookalike and then add all of this information underneath it.
Yeah, just exactly an exact copy paste. Just insert your lookalike with it.
That sounds powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to say is like, yeah, you've got some that have like a 2 or 3 ROAS, which is great, but you also have some with a 7 and a 4. So figure out the best stuff from the 7 of the 4 and just like keep combining, optimizing, and testing. And that should just lead you to higher and higher ROAS.
Makes sense.
Um,
I think,
yeah, and the ones we haven't really talked about, like the 2, 3, 4 ROAS, maybe just duplicate those, throw in the lookalike, see how it goes, or duplicate those, put that ad creative, the 7 ROAS ad creative into those and see how that performs. Because maybe just if you take your best ad creative and apply it to these other ad sets that have a little bit lower ROAS, maybe you see their ROAS climb, and it's because of the ad creative,
that completely makes sense. It's weird though, because like, I want to show you this. So I have this, right? This ad. I mean, maybe if I go over here, and if I like, it's almost literally the same. But when I go here, like I switch one little thing out. I guess it would be.
Well, your targeting is different.
Yeah, like if the targeting, I'll just go back here and just show you. So this is a weird targeting. There we go. Because it's like, must also be this, must be this, must be this. Right. I don't even think this is this the, yeah. Okay, cool. But like literally.
Bro, that's good targeting.
Oh, really? You think so? Thank you.
What was the ROAS on this one?
This is the 7.
Yeah. See?
Okay, I believe you, man.
It makes sense because you went, and sometimes people set this up, and I'm just like, well, why'd you do that? But you went like the broadest, like, okay, this is the whole genre. And then you went, all right, I need people who have, and then you went, all right, inside of people that have that are also inside, they need to be people. That's perfect. That's the exact way to do it. Was there a question that I?
No,
sorry.
Not a question. More like if I change one thing about this, like I want to take this and put it here but this is already successful. So I'm like, why even touch it? But in my mind,
duplicate it, make a duplicate and make those changes and then hit publish.
Makes sense.
Yeah. That needs to be the way you always, like, the quicker you get used to duplicate, you'll be like, oh yeah, this is the way to run ads.
Got you. And the trick with that though is like, should I start them all at the same time so that I know exactly the difference, or is it a situation where it doesn't matter to you?
Starting time, I don't think matters, because the way you're going to see a difference is just off of the data that comes back.
The ROAS specifically.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense. Obviously, give it a couple of days though, because like sometimes I'll have a day that's like $200, and sometimes I'll have a day that's like literally 50. So I'll probably give it 5 days maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, if you really wanted to do the best testing as far as, to see how things fluctuate across days, or to have it, kind of even out across all the days, is probably to go for, run it for 2 or 3 weeks. Because, imagine if you were running an ad like end of February or the first week of March, and then Corona lockdown comes. It's like, oh, that's you can't run it. Like, you're not going to get the data that you need, because things, from one week to the next, things just completely change, right? And that can happen. Like this weekend, maybe people tend to be a lot busier for some reason than the next weekend. But if you run it for 3 weeks, then it's kind of unlikely that like each one of those 3 weeks or each one of those weekends was radically different. You've kind of been able to normalize it across all of the weeks or all the months. But you don't have to do that by any means. Like, I run plenty of ads where, I mean, for the most part, I do pretty much what you just said, actually, which is give it a few days or so.
That makes money.
But again, maybe run that test. Say, yeah, most of these are going to be 5 days, but have maybe one ad set pulled aside that this one's going to run for a month, for 4 weeks, and that's strictly just to see, at the end of those 4 weeks, did running it for 4 weeks work better than the 5-day test, or can I just continue to always do 5-day tests and I don't need to, stuff like that? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. And I think really what you're saying is like scared money doesn't make money. Like I have to just, all right, 3 weeks, cool. If I lose money, whatever, I'm learning basically.
Yeah. I would take a really strong learning approach if I were you. Everybody should, but especially you right now because you're profitable. Like, and your costs are zero. Like you don't have inventory, right? Like you don't have to worry about running some ads on, man, I just ran out of my 100 units. Now I need like you don't have to deal with any of that. So, and that's one of the amazing things about digital products. That's like seeing this makes me want to sell courses. But I'm not trying to sell a course. But it's like that's the power of a digital product mixed with digital advertising, and especially once you scale it, like can mean like you can. We just checked. You have a big enough audience. You have the right ROAS. You have no costs, so you can scale this probably pretty big, fairly quickly. I know I said that before, but like there's nothing here that says otherwise.
Oh, thank you. That's exciting.
Yeah, that is.
It's really exciting.
It is exciting.
And I think really my thing is just like, what's my budget? What am I gonna run? And then like I think I'm gonna probably take like 500 out of this last check I got and just put it all into testing everything that you just said and just figure out what's gonna happen with that. The only thing though, I do want to say this, is I do have one of the features of this product is lifetime updates, and I try to make weekly updates. So it's not a big deal, but I do have to take time to like work out the product and then refine it. And so time is really the only investment here with this product, which I don't mind.
Right.
I don't know if that.
No, you just balance that and manage that as you need to. And I wasn't overlooking that. No. That's just, you balance that as you need. Yeah. I had, this is what I wanted to do. Let's go back to your data, and I wanted to see how much like your cost per result is what I want to see.
Okay, so you want me to go here?
Yeah, this is good. If it'll show me, might have to. Does it have a cost per result column?
Yeah, it does. I think it has a. Yeah, here we go.
There it is. Yes, $17. Okay, so it's $17. Oh no, this isn't the right ad set. Go to the 7 ROAS ad set.
You're right. Should I get the lookalike one as well?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna just take that one. Let's take this one. Do you want me to take a couple of these? Is that of my good ROAS or just?
Just the. Is that the one with the 7 ROAS? I don't think that's the 7, is it?
It's a split test. So one's 3 and one's 7. That's why you're seeing 5.
Oh, I gotcha. Let's just do one for now. Just whatever the best one is.
Absolutely. Here we go.
Okay, what was I trying to do? I wanted to see cost per result, 288. Okay, so I would say, man, I would make it a goal to try and get because the best thing, what you need to do is build lookalike audiences and start running ads to lookalike audiences. Just build powerful lookalike audiences. That'll be building your pixel data, and that'll increase your targeting in your cost, like your ROAS a lot. So I would make that your number one focus. Get as many conversions as you can to build really strong lookalikes. So let's say, so this is how I'm kind of looking at it, and I think it'll help us get to, your question, which you asked a little bit ago, is kind of like, how much should I spend? So I would look at it kind of like this way. I'd make it probably a goal to get like 500 conversions, because that you should be able to build a really good lookalike audiences off of the data from 500 conversions. And according to this right here, if we take your lowest cost per result, 288, so let's call that $3. So if we wanted 500 conversions times 3 is 1,500, right? Yeah. So like I would say maybe that's not what you're trying to spend in the near future, but that's kind of how I would maybe gauge it is, $3 to $5 for every conversion, and I want to get 500 conversions. So 500 times $3 to $5 is 1,500, $2,000 or so. So then I go, all right, I want to have 1,500 to just spend on these ads to get my 500 conversions, so I can upload a lookalike. So then I can really be doing the most efficient ads, running the most efficient ads that I can. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense.
But if you don't have the 1,500 or the $2,000, or just don't want to put that much into it and want to kind of take it a little slower and bring some money in as it comes and then just gradually build, you can do that too. But if you wanted to scale just sooner than later, I think, again, everything else what I've already said, you can. But you just gotta, you gotta put the money behind it. And I think, yeah, man, I think if you can get up to like 500 conversions or something, I think that's probably a pretty big deal.
The trick with that is, am I just putting because I can afford to do 500 a week right now, which is 1,500 in 3 weeks. Should I put all of that money into one ad so that I can guarantee get that 500 conversions, or we're testing? We're still testing.
I would put 80 or 90% of it into your best ones and optimizing your best ones. And then the rest of it, play around, have some fun, run some tests, knowing some of them might be complete failures.
That makes sense. That makes complete sense.
And I think that's 500 a week over 3 weeks. That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm really, really excited about this, man. I feel like I'm already seeing like good things, but after this conversation, I just feel like I'm gonna take off, man.
You should. I just don't see why not. These are like your very first goes at it, and they're all on point. And you're not even to the best stuff yet, which is, well, you do have one lookalike going, but that's off of maybe 100 conversions. So like, yeah, man, you got the best stuff ahead of you, as far as I can see.
Yeah, man.
Targeting, emails.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I feel like you gave me hella, bro. I feel like this is too much value.